Good evening, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live and then available on demand, and available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and of course YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, October 26, 2022, and we're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in the LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio models of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ+ community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 37 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Well, let's begin by welcoming anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. Bobby is a professional mediator. He helps individuals, families, and businesses resolve their disputes. When he is not mediating, he would either be building Legos at home or having some fun on Walton Drive. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you, Al. And let's welcome anchor John Hayden. A journalist for 27 years, he now works for several outlets, including South Florida Gay News as a reporter and community editor, covering politics, entertainment, and local events directly impacting the LGBTQ+ community. John's interviewed everyone from presidents to Oscar winners, and he has been on more red carpets than he can count. Also, he's gotten his ballot by mail, he filled it out, and returned it. What's your excuse? Welcome, John.
Thank you very much. And a good excuse now is you've already early voted in person. So get out there, do it, don't wait for the last minute. And SFGN this week, oh my God, so much. There was arrest for lewd behavior by the pickleball courts in Wilton Manor. There was a verbal...
Wait, lewd behavior means sex?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
But pickleball doesesn't mean sex?
Well, I think that might have been where the confusion was. There was a verbal throwdown at City Commission last night. All the shiz is going down in Wilton Manor. Check it out this week. It's on stands tomorrow. And now let's welcome anchor Paul Thomas. He is currently the chairman of the LGBTQ+ Advisory Committee to the City of Miami Beach, a board member of Miami Beach Pride, on the board of directors for the Point Foundation, and the endorsement committee for SAVE. He has more than 30 years of experience in the healthcare and education fields, specializing in AIDS, HIV treatments, as well as an activist advocate for marginalized community. Locally, he works with many of our nonprofits and FQHCs, providing a wide range of services. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, John. And if you're in the South Beach area tonight, join them for the bar crawl. Miami Beach Pride is having a bar crawl, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Even more important than that, vote. You have to vote. Vote early. Vote on November. I don't care when you vote. Yeah, mail-in vote. However you have to do it please. And let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 8 books, including his latest, Fear of Muses, an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ+ and mainstream publications and websites. His movie review column, called Screensaver, can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Gregg.
Well, good evening, everyone. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the Queer News for today, Wednesday, October 26, 2022, a moment for us to celebrate the birthplace of St. Dolly Parton. It's National Tennessee Day.
All right. Well, let's begin by queering up education. A new study shows 70% of all LGBTQ students say they're unsafe and face hate in schools. Schools remain hostile to LGBTQ plus students if we go by the new report from the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, which found a decline in access to resources, books, and supportive clubs for those students. Nearly 70% of LGBTQ plus students felt unsafe at school because of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. According to the biennial report released last week, more than 78% said they avoided school functions or extracurricular activities because they felt unsafe or uncomfortable. The findings come from the 2021 National School Climate Survey, which the organization has conducted every other year since 1999, offering a look into the unique experiences of LGBTQ plus students at schools across the nation and pointing to possible improvements. Aaron Ridings, Deputy Executive Director for Public Policy and Research, said, quote, "This year's report shows we must make additional progress before LGBTQ plus youth are at minimum safe in schools where they can thrive and reach their full potential. The attacks on LGBTQ plus youth from anti-LGBTQ plus extremists continue to create a chilling effect that threatens the well-being of gay and transgender youth across the country. We need leaders in states across the country who will uphold basic civil and education rights and let educators teach and students learn," end quote. Conditions have improved for LGBTQ plus students over the past 2 decades, though improvements have recently stagnated and researchers found few positive changes this year. The report seems self-obvious and self-evident, but I am fearful for students today. When I was in middle school and high school, you could not generally publicly be out in any way. The bullying would have been severe and consistent. It improved through the 90s, into the early 2000s, into the teens. It improved all the way up to gay marriage, entertainment, etc. What is happening now is, with the luxury of those improvements, so many more young people in schools have felt comfortable about their identity, and now they're caught by the culture wars that radical extremists are initiating, and that is causing dramatic percentages of increases in bullying, which means they're more vulnerable in school than I was in my time. I had it better than students have it today.
Well, even worse, they're targeting school boards. I mean, we have a story coming up about that, but they're targeting school boards and staffing members who are elected members who are anti-LGBTQ and wants to make sure that they ban the books, they, and do all those stuff that's, they want to.
Yeah. I fear that we're seeing a bell curve. It was bad and got better and better and better, 2015, and then these last 2 years it's just sort of nosedived off there. And I'm surprised that it's only 70% that feel uncomfortable. That is the number that surprises me for being low.
Right.
The sad part to me is not only are the students at risk, which, then there's the ripple effect of that, right? Because they have parents and they have relatives and they have people that love them who are now also affected, but also for the students that are not part of the LGBTQ community, who want to just have a healthy friendship with their friend. Now they're caught in the middle too, right? Who do I choose? All of a sudden, all of the students are being affected by this hatred, and none of it is bringing us in a good direction, right? Because when do you learn to communicate? When you're young. When do you learn things are okay? When you're young, you don't want to have to unlearn hatred, which our generation has to do, right? We're trying to not do that again.
As someone who felt unsafe and faced bullying in school, I can't imagine what it must be like to be queer in school in 2022. You had the addition of social media, religious extremism, and this phony and hurtful legislation, the so-called Don't Say Gay bill. I mean, all of it is just mounting. It's going to come to a very bad end. It really is.
Well, now something a little bit happier. We'll queer up South Florida gay news. Merry Gay Christmas. I mean, Happy Halloween. With Halloween on Monday, it feels like we're at the start of a long, fun weekend. In this week's SFGN, online now and on stands tomorrow, I preview the LGBT parties set for this weekend. Save's Mass Queerade Ball is Friday night at a rooftop venue with panoramic views of Miami. Saturday night, Lesbian Thespians have their party at Art Surf Building in Fort Lauderdale. Cannonball, a relatively new event in its third year, is having a weekend-long party with spa days, pool parties, dances, and costumes. This party is for chubs and their chasers and emphasizes body positivity in a very fun atmosphere. And of course, there's Wicked Manners, the crown jewel of the LGBTQ plus Halloween party scene in Wilton and the Southeast. The street party is on Monday, Halloween, and starts at 5 p.m. and runs through 11. Up to 40,000 people are expected to attend. Hotspots will have a stage in the Alibi parking lot. All the events will have costume parties, cocktails, candy, and all the other spooky accoutrements of the season. One thing they all have in common is they're bringing the LGBTQ plus community together. Friend of the show and Save's executive director, Orlando Gonzalez, told me, quote, "It's always a weekend that leads up to Election Day. This is a chance to emphasize the message of get out the vote, and undoubtedly see some costumes that poke fun or highlight the politics of the last year," end quote. And you can get all the details on all the parties in this week's SFGN online and on stands now. And you know, I choose a story that I do every week to bring here, and this week I brought 4 because I just think it shows how the lesbians are having their party. There's just a party for everyone out there, and we may have several weeks of not so pleasant news coming our way. So get out, enjoy, be in community. Find out what it means to be in community. And that's what I really hope people will take away from all of these opportunities this weekend.
That's a funny observation because I'm getting out of town for the weekend.
Yeah, girl, bye.
Right? Wow. And I love the tear coming down your cheek. I'm coming back for Wicked Manners on Monday, but over the weekend, I'm going to go camping. And I'm going to go camping at the biggest Halloween event in the nation, which is at Sawmill. They build a gay haunted house. They have just amazing dance pool parties. They have the trails, the haunted trails. They're very haunted. And it's going to be so much fun. And you know, it's funny that you say what you say in terms of what's going to come up in the next couple of weeks. I specifically thought I want to go and do something else, come back for Wicked Manners, because the first couple of weeks in November are probably going to be really tough. So this weekend, scary, really scary. And so I'm going to celebrate gay Christmas this weekend, and then the scare can really begin.
40,000, really? 40,000? Because I was going to go, much to my husband's surprise, I was going to go.
You must go.
But 40,000, that's
come to the Wilton Shops parking lot. Hotspot's happening out, has a presenting event there.
Will there be a safe space for me?
It'll be a safe space. We'll hug you and go, you'll be okay.
A safe parking space?
Well, I mean, I live up the street and that street is closed, you know that, so you have to park, you have to find a creative way.
And there's probably nothing going on in South Beach, right?
Well, I was just thinking when they said 40 to 50,000 people, I remember Lincoln Road being, you couldn't even walk down Lincoln Road. But so many people have moved up here. I wonder what Lincoln Road is going to be like for Halloween.
By the way, when you're the last person out, make sure you turn the lights on.
It's a little bit scary,
I mean, there's also what is happening in Key West, whatever they call it, Fancy Fest. And
just to let everyone know, there's still a huge gay population.
I was only kidding.
I
was only kidding. Dan Rios is on the phone.
Right, I don't know if we're gonna be wearing costumes on Lincoln Road, but we're there.
Oh, and by the way, no Jeffrey Dahmer costume for Halloween. It's very bad.
No way. No.
We love our sarcasm and our humor. That won't be fun.
Well, we're old enough to remember when people wore Dahmer costumes 30 years ago, the first time around.
Don't do that. Bobby,
I don't look like Evan Peters. I'm never going to be.
Let's move on to something equally scary.
All right.
It's called Qatar.
Next up, let's queer up the worldview. Qatar World Cup stops LGBTQ activist Peter Tatchell protest. Qatari officials have stopped a protest staged by British LGBTQ plus rights campaigner Peter Tatchell. Mr. Tatchell said that he was arrested and detained on the curbside in Doha on Tuesday following his protest challenging the country's treatment of LGBTQ plus people ahead of the World Cup. He said he was later released and is now heading back to the UK. The Qatari government said authorities asked one of the protesters to move, but claims of an arrest were completely false. Speaking on BBC Radio 4's program, The World, tonight, he said he and his colleague were not free to leave nor free to continue the protest. In the interview, he said, quote, "You can call it arrest or detention, but we were not free to move. Eventually, we were told very clearly it was in our best interest to leave the country as soon as convenient." Mr. Tatchell took similar action when the 2018 World Cup was hosted in Russia. He said it has been the first public LGBTQ plus rights protest to take place in the Gulf states. In a statement, Mr. Tatchell said he was surrounded and interrogated by 9 officers who asked where he was from, who was helping him, where he was staying, and when he was leaving Qatar. Well, obviously, they're trying to fish information so that they can arrest local activists. Where are you staying? Who are you with? Yeah, who is helping you?
I love his bravery. And now I'm waiting any minute now for these teams to say, we're not going to play in Qatar. A lot of people are calling for them to pull out. This is not acceptable. That it's not just LGBTQ people. Women don't have rights in this country either. And it's like, do you keep rewarding, right? Why do you keep rewarding countries like this?
Well, I can tell you why they keep rewarding them, because authoritarians can just throw as much money as they want and not have to worry about the backlash of taxpayers. So they can build 8 new soccer stadiums in a country that's roughly the size of Broward County and get away with it. That's why China has the so many.
Horrifying.
Russia.
Exactly.
The horrifying component of your observation is that it tells the entire world, and especially the minorities that are oppressed, gay, black, women, religious, Latino, etc. and so on. Don't even get me started on trans. It says to the whole world, if you have enough money, that will solve every problem. And that's what's the horror of your observation. And you know, FIFA, I have no respect for the organization. I frankly don't have. It's the most popular sporting event in the world, the World Cup. The soccer FIFA World Cup. Russia, now Qatar. Would FIFA once upon a time had a situation where they would hold the FIFA World Cup in South Africa when apartheid was going on? Or would they approve holding the FIFA World Cup in Iran for the Women's Soccer League? You know, it is just reprehensible of what FIFA is doing.
But it's because the money that they're getting.
And that's what it is. Why would you do this? It's not to propel any change. It's because you're greedy as all
and that's the sad part, because sport has always been used as a vehicle for social justice change. And if you're going to have a sport of that size that has that much influence and not use it for any type of good, just to make a couple of dollars,
but
this is not
reprehensible.
I'm like losing the words. I'm like,
on the flip side, host countries have been trying to use this as propaganda. I mean, it's obvious why Russia, China, Qatar, these countries want to host these international sporting events, to essentially act as they're coming out to the world scene. You know, I'm respectable now when they're anything but. And when you say FIFA, the International Olympic Committee has also committed the same crime.
This is guilty.
Guilty. Beijing twice. You know.
Yeah. Okay. And now we're going to queer up the USA view. This is some shocking numbers here. There are only 90 LGBTQ school board members in the United States, and they face threats and harassment. Data by the Victory Institute, a clearinghouse for LGBTQ+ candidates and elected officials, shows the numbers of queer school board members, and the results are eye-popping. Of the approximately 90,000 U.S. school board members, 90 are known to be LGBTQ+. Most of those outboard members are gay cisgendered men. Just 29 are cisgendered women, 4 are trans women, 2 are trans men, and 2 are non-binary. They serve in 28 states, frequently as the only openly queer school board member in their state. In a recent survey, Few and Under Fire, the organization asked LGBTQ+ board members about their experiences seeking and holding office. Almost half, that is 47% of those who responded, told the Victory Institute they had been harassed as candidates, while 51% have been verbally assaulted in office, sometimes by fellow school board members. A third have faced threats to their safety, and more than 6% have been threatened with death. Given that 7% of the adult U.S. population identifies as LGBTQ, to achieve equitable representation on school boards, voters would need to elect 6,300 more school board members. There are 82 LGBTQ+ school board candidates this year, up from 34 in 2018. With LGBTQ+ student rights under assault and out-elected officials facing attacks, Victory Institute seeks more candidates to run.
I was just going to say, do the math.
Yeah.
You did the 6,300 candidates.
Yeah.
It's at 90 people for 90,000 spots is 0.001% represents the LGBTQ. And really, it's the students. It's not representing the adult population.
Right.
It's representing the students. They don't have a voice.
And doubling the burden too is that one thing, running for school board, people expect that school board candidates tend to be parents, people who have a stake in how the school board is run. So if we're asking for LGBTQ candidates, that means we're asking for parents who are LGBTQ. So same-sex couples, families.
To that point, we have learned in 2022 how important school boards are. LGBTQ may have ignored the importance of school boards as we focus on presidents and senators and congressmen and governors, etc. But school boards are critically important, and Don't Say Gay this year proves how important school boards are. DeSantis cannot touch very blue Broward County. We're one of the bluest counties in the United States. We are a county that is a minority county. I did not know that phrase, what that phrase meant, until I moved down here 4 years ago. And the director of Visit Lauderdale and Mayor Dean Trentellis explains to me and educates me that majority county of Broward County means the county's majority population is Black, gay, women, Latino, religious minority. That is the majority of the county. So Broward County is untouchable by the crazy that goes on by DeSantis in the state, until he comes in and removes 5 school board members and replaces them. And now the majority of the school board is controlled by the crazy in Tallahassee of the radicals. And now the no confidence vote of the chairman of the school board of Broward County, a very blue Broward County, is now facing the possibility of removal. And what will they do? They will attack LGBTQ students in one of the bluest counties in America. That's how they're getting us.
I'm hoping that younger people Our generation, at least I can speak like maybe for myself, my generation, we were kind of dissuaded from getting too much involved in politics. And really, I've shared before, I only got involved in politics through healthcare, because healthcare, as we all know now, is very political. But it wasn't the goal. It wasn't something I was really interested in. I didn't have a choice. I'm hoping that these young people, there are a lot of young advocates. These kids are smart. And I'm hoping that they're going to hear these statistics and they're going to start running. There's probably, I can think of maybe 4 or 5 young people running for Senate right now, 18 years old, 20 years old, an 18-year-old won in Idaho. Yeah. And I'm hoping that the young people are going to take their schools back, and they're going to take their ability to read books back and their ability to be free in school back, and that they're going to step up for us, because this is not, we cannot move forward.
You know, one last thought. We congratulate the Victory Institute. You should follow what the Victory Institute does. They are trailblazers for the LGBTQ community in terms of the political process that's going on all levels in America and helping getting more LGBT representation. We congratulate you for all of the work that you do for our community. You know, the most distressing thing about this report, however, is not the number. 0.001. You're apparently pretty good at math, John. The most distressing thing is 22 states have no representation of LGBT at all. Zero. Yeah. Now, you can argue New York, South Florida, Provincetown, Palm Springs, Los Angeles, San Francisco. When we become adults, what do? We move. We move from all over the country to these big centric LGBT, Boys Town in Chicago, Halstead rather. We move. Yeah. But that doesn't apply to students. No. They don't have the ability to migrate yet. Right. So that 7% figure is probably the same 7% figure in Lincoln, Nebraska. They have no ability to do anything about it, to move to a San Francisco or Southern California, and they have no school board representation in Lincoln, Nebraska, or the state of Nebraska at all. What does that mean? Stay in the closet. This is a very harmful report.
Well, it's suicide,
and all of the stuff that Trevor has taught it. Right. Yeah. It is a representation of, here's the smoking gun of what's going on in our schools. And we've got to try to change it. Yes. We have to.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, we move on and tell you that we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church, and it's right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. Eastern every week, with more than 30,000 watching.
Hello, my name is Peter Basuito, also known as My Big Funny Peter. I'm an internationally known comedian and entertainer, and the Sunshine Cathedral is definitely my queer church.
Well, we're going to finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. From LGBTQ plus news partner Queerty and writer Graham Gremore. Oh, Ted Cruz faces shut the fuck up moment from Ana Navarro live on The View.
Hillary Clinton says the election is stolen from you. Hillary Clinton in 2002, George W. Bush was selected, not elected. Joe Biden, Al Gore was elected president. So Joe Biden claims George W. Bush was illegitimate.
Right? Or is it just you that gets to scream?
Okay, no, I agree.
Okay, then lower your voice because we are very close.
After him. Ana Navarro had none of Ted Cruz's bullshit during his appearance on yesterday's episode of The View. The two Republicans butted heads throughout the interview, with Navarro questioning his character for supporting Donald Trump even after the ex-president called his wife ugly, as well as grilling him on his commitment to the U.S. Constitution and whether he believes Joe Biden fairly won the 2020 presidential election. But the moment that's been going viral the most today is the tense exchange after Cruz was asked about insurrectionists who raided the U.S. Capitol to stop the 2020 presidential election results from being certified. You can read more at queerty.com.
And next up, LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. From LGBTQ plus news partner, The Advocate. Maia Kobabe wrote 2022's most attacked and banned LGBTQ plus book. Over the past year, Maia Kobabe's genderqueer has been at the center of the culture war. The unassuming but wonderfully written and illustrated memoir is the American book facing the most attempts to remove or restrict access to it, with conservative and bigots calling it grooming and child pornography. They are even trying to defund libraries that carries it. So far, it has been banned in at least 41 districts across the United States. Initially, the memoir garnered a lot of praise. It received a Stonewall Book Award and won the American Library Association's Alex Award in 2020. That's when conservatives found out about it. Now, the book has been challenged in at least 11 different states. Read more at advocate.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment from LGBTQ plus news partner Out and writer May Rude. Finally, there is a gay Doctor Who, starting Ncuti Gatwa.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Someone tell me what the hell is going on here?
Doctor Who always knows how to keep us on our toes. In the latest episode this week of Doctor Who, we said goodbye to Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor. However, there is amazing news for the sex education star Ncuti Gatwa. He has been hired as the 15th Doctor. Gatwa will not only be the first Black Time Lord, but will be the first gay Doctor, which Neil Patrick Harris comments on, saying is super cool. Harris also said Gatwa's Doctor is sexier and glorious. Gatwa's first episode as the Time Lord will air during the 2023 holiday season, and the 3 60th anniversary specials will air in November of 2022. Read more at out.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. From LGBTQ plus news partner Pink News and writer Maggie Basca. Madonna reflects on being vilified for openness on sexuality after iconic sex book. Madonna opened up about the narrow-minded criticism she faced as she paved the way for others to embrace their sexuality thanks to her sex book. The pop superstar and longtime LGBTQ+ advocate shared her thoughts about the backlash she faced after the release of the risque coffee table book in 1992 on Instagram stories on Saturday, October 22nd. She discussed how Sex, which celebrates its 30th anniversary this year, can't believe it, paved the way for other artists to share their sexuality in an honest way. She said, quote, "I also wrote about my sexual fantasies and shared my point of view about sexuality in an ironic way," end quote. Read more at pinknews.co.uk.
LGBTQ+ 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. From LGBTQ+ news partner, Them. Some of the most hellishly extreme 2022 queer Halloween costumes. None of us terminally online people will ever get paid damages for our time, although the social media age has permanently damaged our cognition. This Halloween, isn't that the scariest notion of all? The least we can do as extremely online queer people is try to extract some bizarre joy out of our time spent in the depths of the content mines. Them has made the list of 29 spooky costumes that only fellow posting veterans will recognize. the trans purple M&M, Campari and Prosecco, Che Diaz, the trans best friend trope, Girard Way, and the list goes on. Read more at them.us. That is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, then share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ+ news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, or the way I do it, on Roku on Al's TV set as I stare in through his bedroom window.
Queer News Tonight. Thanks, John. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Bobby Huen, John Hayden, Paul Thomas, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you
good night.
Good night.